Cleveland Indians are now the Cleveland Guardians. Just a whole change of who their brand was, what they built their brand upon, and it's going to be a little bit difficult with some of the fans that are coming back. And after the pandemic, we're going to have full capacity and everything. So it's going to be difficult for some of these newer fans. Newer fans are probably not going to have that bad of a deal, but the older fans who might not have been following and then they see this new Cleveland Guardians over the Cleveland Indians, it's going to cause a little bit of confusion because a team is recognized by their brand. And their brand is what people recognize and everything. So I do want to talk about what is brand and how this is going to be something important because we're going to be seeing this with the Washington football team with their brand new name. So, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So stay tuned. So before we are able to talk about the Cleveland Indians becoming the Cleveland Guardians, it's important to know what exactly a brand is because there might be some confusion with a product, marketing, how all that's brought up. So let's talk about what exactly a brand is, which according to the definition, a brand is a name, term, sign, symbol, or design, or a combination of them intended to identify the team's goods or services of one seller or group of sellers and to differentiate them from their competitors. So one example we can bring up is that we know that the Atlanta Falcons are an NFL team and we know that the Atlanta Braves are an MLB team. So we know that by their differentiating names. And we also know that the San Francisco Giants are not the New York Giants. New York Giants are NFL, San Francisco Giants are baseball. But they used to be called the New York Giants before, and that did cause a little bit of confusion because actually the reason for that is because the New York Giants football team wanted to be called the New York Giants because they wanted to force people to come to their games instead of going to the New York Giants baseball games. So there's that differentiation there. But it's important to know that there's a difference between a brand and a product. The product is the functional benefit, while the brand enhances those benefits. And then same thing with marketing. Marketing tells you about the product. The branding is how the product is unique. And all that brings in brand recognition. A good example of this is the difference between Nike and Adidas. And then we can also bring up Puma as well because I learned that Puma also has a unique thing with them as well. So Nike has Just Do It. They want to appeal to anybody that wants to become an athlete, like because anybody can become an athlete with them. They have all different clothing brands that appeal to everybody. But then Adidas is impossible as nothing. They're saying you can go out and do anything that your mind is set upon. You can go do whatever you need no matter what kind of fit you're in. And then you got Puma that focuses more on speed. They want you to become a track star pretty much. So that's their main brand recognition. And it's important to know that brand recognition is what drives the people into the organization and what drives people to come to a sport franchise's game. So that's important to know. And all of this is going to be coming into effect because we have teams that are changing their uniforms that might not be recognizable. But then also we have what we discussed earlier, the Cleveland Indians changing to the Cleveland Guardians, and then we have the new name for the Washington football team that might be coming in the near future. Obviously, they're being called the Washington football team now, but there's also going to be that name change happening over there. So it's going to be important to talk about all that as well. But now for the Cleveland Indians, who just recently have to change their name coming into 2022, it's important now that they had to put the name out there and explain the reasoning, because the reasoning is the bridge that has the Guardians set up going into the city of Cleveland. They wanted to have something related to Cleveland itself. And then obviously with the Cleveland Indians, with the logo that they recently got rid of, it's a little bit like in a racial term. It's a racial, same thing with the Washington Redskins, the reason why they're called the Washington football team now. So it's important that those teams have to change their names, and there's probably going to be other teams in the near future who are very similar to their situations that have to change their names as well. But it's also important to know that a expansion franchise also has to go through their own branding as well. Sorry about that voice crack. The Seattle Kraken went throughout their whole expansion draft, gave like a tour of Seattle, tried to show that they are Seattle's team, and having like an octopus showing a player. They had like a fish toss. They had Marshawn Lynch, Bobby Wagner, showing that this is Seattle's hockey team. And they're trying to be that brand for Seattle. So it's very important for them to establish that they are Seattle's team. Being called the Kraken is a really cool name. And for them to be a part of Seattle is their identity, and they're trying to establish that identity for the whole city, so people know that they're the NHL team for the Seattle team, not like this random team that's out of there, because they went into this new arena and without any announcement, and then just started playing hockey there, and then people see it on TV, they're gonna be like, wait, Seattle has a hockey team? Like, you don't want that. You want people to know right away so you could sell out that arena the first day you get your team to play a regular season game, which they're going to be playing against, ironically, Vegas Golden Knights, who also had established their team back in 2017. They have like a whole elaborate scheme with going there, so they have that recognition that they are not just a hockey team that you go and just watch hockey for. They are a team that just like has like a whole setup with concerts, everything, like a whole experience. You go to a Vegas Golden Knights game for the experience more than just the team, because the team is already good. You already know that. You already know people are going to come out to the team. But you want people to keep coming to the game for their experience with everything that happens there, because it's a whole elaborate thing over there. So it'll be something to experience if you ever are out in Vegas and you want to go see a hockey game. And then we also have branding within a franchise that already exists. Like, you had the Cincinnati Bengals that recently just changed their uniforms and they want to be like more retro schemes. So you're gonna have to go through like all that. They already announced it. They already have like a whole Twitter, Instagram, everything that they went into with that. And actually, I've seen like good praise over that. But then there's also teams like the Atlanta Falcons, which their uniforms are interesting to say the least. The big ATL across the chest, which obviously that's their branding, the ATL, but many people just didn't like how it came out. Nobody likes the big numbers. And then you also had the Los Angeles Chargers and the Rams that really did not go through the right branding as well. Because the Rams helmets, they're sick. The Chargers, their uniforms are sick. But then they went through the whole logo change for the Chargers with like the LA and the little spark that nobody liked that. I never seen anybody like that. And then you had the Rams who went through the LA Ram logo, and nobody really liked that either. Nobody really honestly just liked that logo at all, because they had a good thing going on with the retro uniforms and then the white uniforms. They had something good going on there, and everyone was hoping that they would stick with that. But the Rams had to go in completely rebranded. Not many people like that. And plus, it doesn't help that their stadium looks exactly like the old logo. It does not help. So for the Rams to be going through that whole change and then decide that like their stadium looks like the old logo, this doesn't make sense. That's the importance of branding, because like new people that are coming in, they're not gonna know that this whole team was gonna change. They don't. The new Tennessee Titans fans are not going to know that they were the Houston Oilers or the Tennessee Oilers and they played in Memphis. But branding for a team is very important, especially if a team's not that good, because you're not trying to sell the team, you're trying to sell the experience. That's become like it's an embarrassment when you see a whole stadium without fans in there with empty seats everywhere, and that people really make fun of that. Even though for the NFL, those tickets are sold. Those are all season tickets, and a lot of these different people buy those tickets to sell on third-party websites so they can gain more of money that way. But looking at an empty stadium doesn't really help that case. Yeah, the team gets their money, but they don't get the fans and they don't get their concessions and everything. So obviously everything with that is going to be very hard. And if a team doesn't have that brand recognition, their unique brand that they bring into the league, and why people should go to their games versus driving 4 hours away to a different team, that's a whole different thing that a team has to go through. They're trying to become that unique team. So for Cleveland Indians, who are already a new unique team, have to go through a whole different change to become the Cleveland Guardians. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but it's a whole process that they're willing to go through. And for Cleveland, I'm excited for that. I like the Guardians name better than the Indians. It sounds so cool. Who doesn't want to be called a Guardian in the MLB? That name is just really cool, and I'm so happy that they picked that name over the Spiders. Why would you pick the Spiders? But for Cleveland to go through that change and become the Guardians, even though that their logo looks very generic and looks like you could just pull it up in a video game and there it is, it's definitely more of an exciting change. They keeping their colors. That's one good thing. I'm glad that they didn't go through that whole change. But for them to go through this whole change, I'm excited to see how they do it. Their owner, they already have the owner there. They already have everything that they already wanted. They're just going through a whole name change. So it's going to be interesting to see how things change with the Cleveland Indians becoming the Cleveland Guardians. So yeah, that's going to be really fun to see. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you guys for the next video.